Mr. Speaker, not only does the government have its priorities wrong, this could well be the most shambolic beginning of any government in New Zealand's history. First, we had the coalition negotiations, Mr. Speaker, with, as predicted, Winston Peters and David Seymour running circles around Christpoher Luxon. I don't think I have ever seen anything quite as pathetic as the incoming Prime Minister literally sprinting out the door of Parliament to fly back to Auckland because he had been summoned by Winston Peters, because Winston Peters decided that he didn't want to come to Wellington, he wanted instead to summons the others to come to Auckland. Not exactly a strong and stable start to coalition negotiations, Mr. Speaker.
Proof that the three leaders finally sat around a table together.
It's been more than a month since the general election and nearly 2 weeks since special votes were finalised. And only just now has Christpoher Luxon managed to get Winston Peters and David Seymour into the same room.
Christpoher Luxon has previously talked up his speedy negotiating skills and his desire for a quick deal. These talks coming after Winston Peters didn't turn up in Wellington yesterday, the other leaders flying back to Auckland late last night.
Not everyone showed up, but hey, what can you do?
Mr. Speaker, on a serious note though, I respect the fact that New Zealanders at this last election voted for change. I don't think the change that they're getting is the change they thought they were voting for though, Mr. Speaker. I don't think that this was the change that they had in mind, because when we look through the coalition documents that form the basis for this incoming government, we see a mishmash of confused priorities and broken promises literally weeks out from the election. But first, let's start with the fundamentals. Let's start with the economic fundamentals that underpin this government. Tax cuts that are simply unaffordable. Bigger tax cuts for mega landlords than what was promised before the election, and smaller tax cuts for working New Zealanders than what was promised before the election. That has been the upshot of the coalition negotiations. Mega landlords, around 300 of whom stand to get over $1 million in tax cuts each under this incoming government, actually get their tax cuts brought forward, so they are going to get more, while working New Zealanders see the tax cuts they were promised by National starting to erode away through the wheeling and dealing of the incoming government. Mr. Speaker, New Zealanders discovered late in the election campaign that the tax cuts that were being promised by National were actually a hoax to begin with. $250 a fortnight is what National promised the average working family. $250 a fortnight, and not up to. In fact, we can go back and we can watch the video. It was $250 a fortnight. But then we discovered late in the campaign that actually there was only about 3,000 families that were going to benefit from that. And for the rest of the country, it was going to be significantly less than that. And now we know it is going to be even less than what they were promised before the election.